everybody. I'm Splat Stanley, and you're watching Splat Attack Podcast. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Yeah, see what I did there? For this episode, we are looking at 2 episodes of Clarissa Explains It All. Which one wins the battle? Ooh.
Kick it.
Welcome to Splat Attack, a podcast honoring the slime-filled past. I'm your charades champion, Kat.
And I'm your neighbor cable provider, Alex. And Kat,
Yeah, what's up?
what are you doing with that big drum of cables? You got a big knot there.
Well, as the great philosopher Clarissa Darling once said, TV or un-TV, that is the option. So today we are taking a look at the Clarissa Explains It All episodes, Total TV and No TV, and pitting them against each other in our first ever Clarissa episode battle.
Right, but what's the cable for?
Paramount Plus isn't streaming the episodes I need for some upcoming recordings, so I'm left to my own devices.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Oh, and it looks like our guests are here. We are welcoming 90s Nick fans and collectors, Carl and Krystine DaCorte, back to the show. First time with Krystine on the episode. She was with us for a slime stream previously, but they're going to help defend each of these Clarissa episodes. So step into the ring. Hi, guys. It's good to have you here.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you guys. So Carl, this is not his first rodeo in a episode battle. It's actually been a while since we've had you on for a versus, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I was the judge last time. It was 2 great episodes, a Rocco episode and a Ren and Stimpy episode.
Yeah, that was for a Valentine's episode, I think.
Yep.
And Krystine, I'm excited about this because one, this is also Krystine's first time here, but we're having husband and wife that are versing each other. So this is going to be this is going to be interesting. And Kat is going to be judging for us.
Yes. Order in the court.
Oh, have a cheeseburger. Ah!
Have you judged before?
I haven't. I was just realizing that earlier today. I was like, this is going to be a first for me too.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. So before we really get into the episodes themselves, because we've talked with Carl about these kinds of things before, Krystine, I'm going to start with you. What has been your experience with Clarissa Explains It All? Was this something you watched when you were a kid also?
So I actually really like Hey Arnold, Doug. Like I actually steered more towards like the animation, except for that I loved the game shows. So I feel like this will be really good for me because I don't have an over bias of Clarissa because I didn't watch it a ton. So I think that's actually beneficial.
Awesome.
Nice.
And we've not really talked Clarissa with you, Carl. Was this also something that you stuck with when you were a kid?
Yeah, I watched. I think I was more of a fan of Nickelodeon than like specific shows. I just watched whatever was on Nickelodeon
Same.
at the time.
Yep. Same
And
here.
I even like as a little boy, I never saw Clarissa Explains It All as a girls show. It was a girl
Yeah.
lead, a lot of
Absolutely.
like female type stories, but it just was fun to me. So yeah.
I see her sweater behind you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the sweater. I'm also wearing my Ferguson 90s man pin. This was
Love
a
it.
prop from I think Ferguson for President, I think is what the
Mhm.
name of the episode was. But yeah.
And we have had Carl on a handful of Collector's Corner episodes because look around him. Yeah, he's got some awesome stuff around him.
Yeah.
And just the same. Let's see that.
Look
Just
at
all
that.
of that. It's so awesome. And we still have, there's still so much to check out. So we'll definitely be having Carl on again at some point. We did get to do a slime stream fairly recently where Carl had the premiere of SNICK. and we got to check that whole thing out, commercial breaks. It was broadcast quality. It was so much fun, and it was exclusively on our Patreon. So that was really very, very cool. So thank you again, Carl, for
Yeah,
sharing
thank
that with
you.
all of us.
And
Yeah.
that included one of the episodes that we're talking about tonight.
Yes, it did.
Ah, it all comes together. It's all related.
Hey,
So
if I could plug your Patreon real quick, if you're not a part of the Splat Attack Patreon, you are missing out. You're missing out on live streams, on just all kinds of quality content. So rethink your life choices if you're not part of the Patreon.
Thank you.
thank you, Carl. Appreciate that.
If you're not subscribed to Patreon, what are you doing with your life?
Cortland was just on an episode, and he was talking about he had another T-shirt also, because you have one of our shirts that we have
Yeah.
on Bonfire, and he said his son said, "Dad, why are you wearing a Splat Attack T-shirt?" And he said, "Why aren't you?" Which I thought
And
was
if
really
you don't
cool.
want a t-shirt, there's also mugs, people.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Kat, I'm actually going to throw this to you. What is the theme of our episode battles?
Well, we have no TV and total TV, so I'd say the theme is TV.
Okay. Well, you want to give us the episode details?
Yeah. Yep. All right. So the first one is No TV. The air date was April 6th, 1991. It was season 1, episode 3, so very early on in the Clarissa series. It was directed by Maureen Thorpe and written by Mitch Kriegman. And the second episode we're talking about is Total TV, which aired August 15th, 1992. It's the SNICK premiere. And it was season 2, episode 9, directed by Chuck Vinson and written by Allison Taylor.
Very cool. I'm excited about this. And I believe this was another episode that was Kat's idea to put these two episodes together. So it was a great idea. Otherwise, we
Thank
wouldn't
you.
be doing it, because Kat has great ideas. My whole crew has great ideas. But
We got, yeah. We share
we
the
share. It's a
awesomeness.
hive brain.
It's, yeah.
But before we get into the battles, we have to start the battle. So let's get it on. Alrighty, so as always, we have to have our 5 categories that Kat is going to be judging based on. And our 5 categories for this episode are story. We always have to have story. We also have use of TV or pop culture references. The third category is use of the daydream sequences or cutaways, because Clarissa is known for having so many great cutaways. Fourth category is memorable quotes. And our final and favorite among the crew is lasting appeal.
As always.
Krystine, which episode will you be defending?
So I'm defending the No TV episode from season 1.
That leaves Carl with Total TV.
Totally.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start with story, as always, and we will start with No TV. So, Krystine, tell us about No TV. Tell us about the story for No TV.
It starts out, which I think is really cool. It kind of starts out with Clarissa and her news reporter vibe at the very beginning, which I think is cool, just foreshadowing of the whole episode, and also cool foreshadowing of just the whole show and that kind of, fourth wall frame, which is so cool. But basically, she kind of informs the audience that her and her brother Ferguson have been fighting a lot over the TV and over control of the remote, and she ends up getting this big, gigantic, mega remote to try to change the channel while Ferguson's sitting there trying to watch what he wants to watch. And so anyway, so they're arguing over what to watch, and there's this like epic lightsaber battle that Janet walks into, which I love, which is, I'm getting ahead of myself, call out to Star Wars a little bit, which is so cool. But their mom Janet walks in and was like, no TV, we're done, the whole family's done. And so this episode continues of this tension with their family of not having TV and what are they supposed to do and being kind of bored. And so Clarissa tries to, because I just feel like she's so great with technology. I feel like that becomes part of her persona throughout the show, but she tries to like figure out a way to kind of sneak TV in her room. And it ends up being like Russian potatoes, but I guess it's better than nothing. And so while while she's watching these Russian potatoes, her dad, Marshall, comes down and accidentally, just like not even thinking, turns on the TV, and it kind of blows up her apparatus there that she had plugged in. And so then they actually ended up with really no TV, and the family having to play charades there at the end. So
I just found it interesting how each of the members of the Darling family was coping with no TV, because none of them coped well, including Janet.
And I think for Janet, it was just because everyone was driving her nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And holy crap,
And
Janet smokes.
We see a mom smoking on kids' TV. That was weird. I was like, wow, they did that in the 90s? Okay.
Wow, Mom, I didn't know you smoked. That's so weird. I didn't know you smoked. That's so weird.
Weird.
I did love, and I don't think it was an intentional thing, but she was antagonistic towards Marshall at first because he was sitting down to watch TV, and she's like, Marshall, what are you doing? And then he looks at her and goes, when did you start smoking again?
You were turning on the TV.
Well, when did you start smoking again?
And then she's instantly on the defensive. So a subcategory that I want to throw in here is use of technology in a way, because Clarissa does use tech in a very specific way in both of these episodes. So because she always would program her own software to do games, which she didn't do with either of these episodes. But Krystine, could you elaborate just a little bit more on what she used in terms of tech for this episode?
Yeah, so she was actually working on it at her desk when her mom walked in, and she had to like hide it. But like she has this big, as Kat has in her background, this like big cable roll in her
Never mind
room
the big
like,
drum of
mom.
cable that her mom just ignores.
No big deal. Like, I don't know if her mom was like, oh yeah, that's normal, Clarissa technology. I don't know. But she hooks that up. I think, is it through her computer? And then has like this apparatus set up that's actually plugged into, I don't know if it is like their VCR or, can you tell I'm not a technology person myself?
It's like pseudo tech, I think, because she kind of
Would
sets
she
this
call it
device
like a
next
booster
to the
box?
cable box. She called it a booster box.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how that works technologically.
It was the first Wi-Fi.
But she basically made it like a router and is trying to stream TV through her computer.
Because I think it's Sam that suggests, well, at least you basically have your computer. So it wasn't no screens, it was just no TV. So like even Sam's like, hey, why don't you just
loophole.
do something else on your computer? Like it's fine. Like
Clarissa has always been incredibly smart, and to pull that off was pretty awesome. It was such a hammy way that she managed to pull that off by doing charades and pretending to be a TV repairman. Like, that's not shady at all.
So
And,
she could get close enough to the TV to touch it and put something behind it.
and Ferguson was completely called, no props. You can't do props for charades.
It's a special charade.
Hey, no props. I told you this is a special charade. No talking either.
Ferguson, you've got to give your sister a chance.
Like one time I was like, Ferguson's actually not, he's being a punk, but at the same time, you're kind of cheating at a game because in his mind, they're playing a game.
I forget what he called Star Trek, but he was reading the book of the complete episodes of Star Trek.
Currently, I'm reading the annotated exegesis of the quest for space travel through the popular media.
That sounds fascinating.
Mom, that's the complete episodes of Star Trek.
Oh, hello, Commander.
Hello, Jason. It's time to take a trip into the far future.
Let's go.
And I did find it interesting from the very beginning. They've always given Clarissa kind of a reporter personality, because when later in the series, when she goes to school or gets in high school, or high school, junior high, she works for the school paper. And even the spin-off series that was just Clarissa now, she went to New York to become a reporter. So I think that's pretty cool that they had that little nod at the beginning of this episode. But switching to total TV, Carl, tell us about the story.
All right, you guys, this is a way better story than no TV. Just gonna throw that out there. The scene opens in Clarissa's bedroom. Clarissa's wearing these delightfully pink pajamas with ants all over them. Too much detail? That's too much detail. Sorry.
It's setting the scene, Carl.
But where can we find these ant pajamas? Where did they sell them? Have you tracked them down? What brand are they?
I'd wear them myself. They're pretty cool
I
pajamas.
would too.
All right, here's the deal. Clarissa opens. She's explaining that she's got a new assignment from Mr. Fudstein, which I think is a great reoccurring character in Clarissa Explains It All. So Mr. Fudstein says that you have to pick something to improve it. And so she picks TV as her source to improve. So now she's got a science project to complete over the next 24 hours. So she decides she's going to fully engage herself, like fully immerse herself in TV. So she's going to do nothing but watch TV for the next 24 hours. In the meantime, there's a little B subplot where Marshall and Janet want to plant a tree in the backyard. They don't know which kind to plant. They get Ferguson involved, which is some nice back and forth between Clarissa and Ferguson. And throughout the episode, we see in this subplot where they pick the wrong tree. They're allergic to it. Ferguson gets all dirty. It's great. It's just great. It's total TV, if I may be so bold.
I see what you did there.
So in the meantime, Ferguson and Clarissa are at their usual antics. And so as Clarissa is watching more TV, Ferguson thinks that he can manipulate her into thinking that she's getting TV overload psychosis. And which basically he oh gosh, I can't think of the word. Uses a source from DSM book or whatever.
I don't think it's in the DSM-5.
Well, actually, so I looked it up. It's not called TV overload psychosis, but there is an actual phenomenon of psychosis where you think the TV is talking to you. Is an actual
Really?
thing. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyways, Ferguson throughout the episode tries to convince Clarissa that she is getting this TV overload psychosis. And so while Clarissa's doing her own science project for school, Ferguson is doing his own personal science project to make Clarissa go insane. So slowly throughout the episode, he's doing things like installing automatic TV channel changers. He installs a speaker in Clarissa's bedroom so that when the TV turns off, it's still playing TV noises. But Clarissa the more she's watching TV, the more she's experiencing these things that she doesn't know that Ferguson is doing, and she's starting to believe herself that she has TV overload psychosis. So finally, and we get updates throughout the 24 hours as she's watching. She's got a big bucket of snacks. She's living her best life. But as we get closer to the finish line, she's starting to think that she actually has this TV overload psychosis. Meanwhile, she recognizes Ferguson is acting all weird, but she hasn't quite put the puzzle pieces together. So we get to the 24-hour mark, and in comes Sam and Hillary, who I don't even know that we see her in another episode, but she's played like she's Clarissa's great friend, which is interesting. So Hillary and Sam walk in, to congratulate her on the 24-hour marathon. And as she turns the TV off, she realizes that Sam and Hillary can hear and see these things too. And so they're like, hey, you don't have psychosis, you've got a crazy brother. So they decide that they're going to flip the script on Ferguson, and they plan a prank on Ferguson. So they get Ferguson to come into the room. Meanwhile, Hillary and Clarissa are upstairs in the attic. They've turned it into a TV studio where she is broadcasting herself onto the TV as if she's in the TV. And so Ferguson comes in. Sam does some good, wrangling in to try to convince him. They freak Ferguson out, which is always great to see in a Clarissa episode. And then the episode ends with this satisfaction that they were able to trick Ferguson. And at the very end of the episode, we see Clarissa's output, her project, which is really cool. It's an immersive TV experience. So she puts the tape in the TV, and she's talking to you as if you're there, like, okay, pick up the remote. Good. Now. And the end result, the lesson learned is that it's better to have things in moderation, to turn the TV off. Don't do too much of any good thing is a bad thing.
I do find it interesting that both episodes featured on TV ends with turn the thing off, or blow the thing up. It's one of the two.
Yeah. I just, to argue, we're trying to battle here. One of the things that stood out most to me between the two episodes is that Total TV kind of ends with a lesson, but No TV, it feels like there's really no lesson. Like it just kind of ends, and the TV's broken, the Game Boy's broken, and they just can't wait to get him back.
Family time isn't a lesson for you, Carl?
But do they learn that lesson? Do they learn that lesson? That's the point. See, Clarissa learns her lesson.
The other one's just, well, we're waiting for the TV to come back so we can go back to watching TV.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe watching it as a family is them watching it in moderation.
Maybe, but the episode doesn't talk about that. You're just kind of left to figure that out.
So like we did previously with tech, elaborate a little bit on the tech that she used for this episode.
Yeah, so it is a little dated on the tech, though it's interesting that it kind of predicts future tech. So in a couple of the scenes, we see her with her big CRT TV, in her arms, and she's kind of walking around the house with it on an extension cable. Who would have thought that like 30 years later we'd be able to watch whatever we wanted on our cell phones? But so that's one thing. Like she's carrying the TV around. She's turned something not portable into portable, in typical Clarissa fashion. We see them manipulating at the very end, manipulating the TV in Clarissa's room to pull this prank on Ferguson, which is fun. They've turned, and I think as a little kid watching this, you would have seen like, oh, maybe I could do that with my parents. Like my family had a movie camera or video VHS camera, and you could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of cool to me that the attic is in her closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had attic access in my closet growing up, now that I think about it, which is kind of weird.
That's pretty awesome. It's not something that I've seen in many places. I did find it also amusing in one, for this episode, Ferguson is, as you said, the script was flipped on him, but I also liked over on No TV, the TV exploded.
Yeah.
And even her computer screen flashed. But then also Ferguson comes downstairs with his clothes smoking.
His clothes
and his
have
hair
exploded.
And
How did that impact his handheld game, though? Like, where was he in the blast radius of this thing?
Well, if he was playing Nintendo, because he said he was playing Mega Man, and if he had that on his TV in his room, then that probably would have exploded too, because it blew all the tech, it blew all the TVs in the house. Which also early 90s, 2 TVs and a computer in their house.
Yeah, wow.
Marshall's making some good money as an architect.
You know what? The
Designing pickle
buildings.
Gherkin a go-go.
architecture, yeah. Which is awesome.
I love how his method of architecture is just to design the thing that will be like the product. Like there's an episode where he makes I don't know if it's a vet or like a pet store or something, and it's just a puppy.
Yeah.
All right. Use of TV and pop culture references. Krystine, what you got?
So within the first, I feel like 4 minutes, they like even just the music is like Pink Panther,
I think we're safe.
Jaws.
So the darlings can spend some quality time together. Togetherness is Mom's new kick.
Star Wars, and Star Trek.
Carly, I'm reading the annotated exegesis of the quest for space travel through the popular media.
That sounds fascinating.
I'm not sure. I don't know. You guys are the Nickelodeon experts, but I'm not sure there's another Nickelodeon show that has Star Wars and Star Trek in the same episode. That's kind of a big deal.
Space Cases might, but I have to research.
Yeah. Double checking on that. But I thought that was really cool. And then like Casablanca, like classic black and white film. It's really hard to beat that.
And that was Janet's sort of sequence, right? Because usually it's Clarissa.
Yes. And that really kind of like, I feel like that was the temptation for, she's like, oh yeah, maybe this is a bad idea. Like maybe, what am I thinking? And then she's like snaps out of it. Like it's kind of funny. But yeah, I think they include, I mean, tons of different references there. You know, like I mentioned earlier, I love like even the lightsabers that they pulled out at the beginning fighting over the remote. And, you know, I mean, I just, like I said too, I think it really kind of, they used that to showcase Clarissa in that kind of journalism dimension, as Alex said too, you know, like later on, she kind of got more into that into high school too. So I think that was a cool early theme in this first season with that episode. Again, Clarissa isn't, I didn't watch tons of Clarissa episodes, so I'm sure I'm missing a ton of things. But yeah, lots of different references, I think, throughout the episode.
And also, Ferguson had mentioned Mega Man, of course, at the end of the episode.
I just broke to the top level of Mega Man 12!
Was it this episode where she referenced Johnny Depp, or was it?
Yes.
Where else can I get chewing gum for my eyes? And what about Johnny Depp?
And The Cosby Show.
It's exactly the same sweater that Bill Cosby wears on The Cosby Show. You remember the purple one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, was that the sweater in the episode where Theo tried to wear his dad's clothes for a date?
Yeah.
And it was only one day.
I had to go back. I'm like, wait, this is day one of their no TV punishment.
Already going nuts. All of them were going nuts in one day.
TV deprivation psychosis? Is that a thing?
Arnie, Carl, what do you got for Total TV?
Total TV is light on the pop culture references. It focuses more on just TV tropes. So like there's a scene where Ferguson really, Clarissa is hip to Ferguson's game, and she's really laying it on that she's developed this TV overload psychosis. And so she's responding to Ferguson with all of these TV tropes, you know, act now while supplies last, and congratulations, you'll go home with a free gift, you know, like all of these tropes that, you know, everybody, even 30 years later, like are still part of regular TV.
Call now. Only $2.99 for the first minute, 50 cents for each additional minute. Please stand by. This is a test. This is only a test. If you act now while supplies last, you'll receive this free commemorative Liberace plate with your order. Yes, and thanks for playing. We have some lovely parting gifts for our runners-up.
There's small little, you know, some of the quotes and things she says, but nothing, you know, nothing big. So I don't want to concede this category just yet, but I will admit that the episode is a little light on the callbacks.
But also, if I can play devil's advocate, this is pop culture and use of TV. So while no TV didn't have very much TV use, but a lot of pop culture, Total TV had a lot of use of television and less on pop culture.
Yeah, that's true. It did.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a TV in almost every single scene, and the TV was where like in no TV, the TV was it was a story device, but in Total TV, I feel like the TV was almost a character in the story itself too. So it did have those strong TV tropes. It did have the story was centered around the TV. Whereas in no TV, I feel like the theme was more togetherness. Like the TV was just the device to point to togetherness. But in no TV, the TV, even the lesson at the end is about TV. Shut off the TV. Go do something. Go do something with your life. Like join Splat Attack's Patreon.
And also quite literally using the television to get back at Ferguson by the end.
Yep.
I'm not Russian, but I don't know. Maybe the Russian potato is actually part of more pop culture over there. Who knows?
Well, the home shopping network as a concept, I think, counts as TV pop culture references, because you all know what that is. If you see somebody just holding up an item and talking about it, like with a phone number, call now. That's pretty much a universal home shopping network thing.
And I tell you, it's very safe, it's durable, and
Carol,
it's lightweight.
you're scaring me.
So really, see,
Wow.
now it's locked in place, okay? So really, you say,
Oh God, Harold, are you okay?
actually, I didn't have it locked. You have to lock it.
That's still something of a thing. It's less
QVC.
more home shopping. Yeah, it's less.
QVC.
It's less of a TV thing now and more in apps. Like you see it in TikTok and things like that. But anyway,
That's true.
Carl.
Oh yeah, TikTok lives and stuff. But QVC, I grew up down the road from where they do the QVC home shopping network thing. So that
Oh, really?
was
Wow.
oh yeah, QVC was in my hometown.
That one's got it. Whoa! I fell on my booty.
Moving on to use of the Daydreams sequences and cutaways. So, Krystine, what do you got?
Yeah, so I feel like the Casablanca breakaway scene is kind of the main highlighted one in this episode, which really is fun because I feel like it goes back to Janet's, I don't want to say her nostalgia because I'm not sure if she was like born when that movie came out, but just what she likes and, the old classic TV kind of highlights that. And like you said earlier, normally I feel like that's Clarissa, but they highlighted the parents here for this episode, which is really kind of cool. But yeah, it's cool. I love how I'm pretty sure Marshall, what does he say? Something about like a hill of beans or something like that. And
But it doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world.
It doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world.
Well, also one of the cutaways was whenever Clarissa was recreating or retelling how this all got started, and it was the remote control wars, and it was very much in the style of Star Wars.
yeah, that's right, because they had the music as well, and I feel like a little bit of the graphics there too. Yeah, I forgot about that, which is
And
awesome.
Janet's voice came in as like the Darth Vader-esque,
That's it. No more TV.
I am your mother.
Yeah.
Because I doubt that they actually had lightsabers in the living room when that happened. So I'm pretty sure she was elaborating a little bit when she retold that.
Unless she has technology that we don't know about. I don't know.
She could have made lightsabers out of remote controls. I wouldn't put it past her.
Carl, what do you got for Total TV?
I think the dream sequences, the cutaway sequences are really fun in Total TV. The first one we see is the family, the Darling family, in a Roman villa. And everything is Opolis at the end. So,
So, Dadopolis.
Well, Sportopolis, pass me a hunk of dry bread, please.
Sure, Fergopolis breath.
So that's the first one. And then the second one harkens back to that idea of Clarissa as a reporter again. So we see live TV you know, as if it's a live TV sequence of Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. And so she's interviewing Paul Revere in front of the chapel, and you get all of his favorite quotes. And then at the end, he pitches a sale at his silversmith shop, which I think is a fun little nod to history there.
Paul, what's your message tonight?
The British are coming. The British are coming. Oh, right. One if by land, two if by sea. Arm yourselves. Oh, remember, Sundays are savings days at Revere Silver Shop. 10% off for Patriots. 30 days, same as cash.
Just silly enough to be fun and continue to advance the story.
That reminds me, I cannot remember who the reporter was, but there was back in the 70s, I believe it was, a very, very famous reporter. And he also would work with education. And they would do these reporters, these things like very much in the vein of Clarissa interviewing Paul Revere, but it was history lessons. And like we saw one that was set in Rome with the Trojan horse that was entering in, but they haven't come out of the Trojan horse yet. So like the reporter was talking, you know, fourth wall, talking to very much like Mr. Rogers, you know, talking to the kids. But we're gonna tell you about the Trojan horse. And then the little tagline was always, but this time, you are there.
His enemies, led by the Democratic politician Anytus, indeed sought to silence him, but not to martyr him. And his friends, we are told, are still desperately trying to find some way out of this tragic entanglement and save Socrates from the fatal cut. We take you now to Athens, outside the prison, where Socrates is being held. All things are as they were then, except you are there.
I love history, and even as a kid, I loved history, and so those sorts of things, you know, anything planted into an episode like that always really appealed to me.
Makes me think of Wishbone.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I always like Wishbone.
Memorable quotes, Krystine.
Is this fun or what? But I don't mean that how Carissa did. I really am having fun.
I'm glad.
Hey.
Yeah. No, there's quite a bit in there. I actually tried to just do some general researching on this episode, and there's actually, I think it's because it's so early, there's actually not a ton that I could find. Like some episodes, I feel like you can find, oh, here's a whole bunch of good quotes, you know, from the episode. This episode is not like that. So I went back and like was watching the subtitles and like trying to like think of some really good ones from there. But I liked a few that I thought were interesting is so about halfway, Sam obviously is in this episode too, which, does anybody find it interesting that like at any point somebody could just put the ladder up against Clarissa's window and just like help themselves into her room? I was like watching this as an adult, I was like, oh, I never thought about, you never think about that as a kid. But
do they ever explain that? Does he carry the ladder over with him, or is it just like stay there?
Laying there? I don't know.
I think they did a joke about that at one point. I want to say there was a joke about the ladder staying there. I don't remember where the episode was, but I think they did give a slight allusion to it in one episode.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
I think the ladder's just kind of perpetually like there, and then Sam just kind of puts it up when he wants to go up. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. I vaguely remember an episode where Sam comes through the front door and everybody thinks it's weird, but it's because the ladder's not there. Something like that.
Well, and he does in this episode too with his surfboard, actually. He comes
Well, how's he going to get that up?
But then like the conversation is like really out, like Janet's like, hello, Samuel. Hello, Mrs. Darling. It's like this like very formal, like, how do we interact with this?
Everyone else is watching like a tennis match. It's like,
how are you and your dad doing? Fine.
Tells Janet that he and his dad are going to get matching tattoos.
Dad and I are getting matching big kahuna tattoos.
Yeah. Anyway. But in this episode, he comes in and Clarissa's like, hi, Sam. Welcome to the Darlings. One big happy family.
Hi, Sam. Welcome to the Darlings, one big happy family.
Like, kind of alluding to the tension of which
Get
she's
out,
always
Sam.
feisty,
Get out now.
you know. Yeah. Save yourself. But you know, I think it just alludes. I always just felt like Clarissa was so, you know, she's just spicy. Like she just is sarcastic. She has those one-liners that are just like on cue, you know. But yeah, but I think that reflects the actuality of what she was feeling, you know, like you get to go, because the other side of that was Sam in this episode was going to just watch TV with his dad. Like that was them spending some quality time together. And so when Sam's up in the room with Clarissa, Chris is like, oh, you know, you get to go watch TV with your dad. And like Sam's like, yeah, I guess we're just gonna watch TV.
It's kind of funny that you're here dying to watch TV and your family won't let you. And here I am stuck watching TV with my dad.
Yeah, real funny. I hope you and your dad have a beautiful thing together.
Yeah, she's like, flip the channels for me.
Oh, hey, Sam. Flip the channels around once for me.
Those are some references that we
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Full House. She asked to what happens to DJ on Full House.
Tell me what happens to DJ in Full House.
Yeah.
Simpsons, I think, was the other one.
Yes.
Watch tonight's episode of The Simpsons for me. I don't want to look stupid at school.
I forgot that element of childhood where, you know, something that you did with your friends the next day was talk about what was on TV the night before.
Act out Saturday Night Live sketches and stuff, and just like people be acting out full episodes like on the playground and stuff.
I remember when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire premiered, like the next day on the playground, we all were doing terrible Regis Philbin impersonation.
Final answer?
Final answer.
I'm a fat man, Regis. My heart can't take it.
I'm just trying to help you sweat off a few pounds.
But I love how it shows too, just the dynamic of her and Sam's friendship, and how, you know, I feel like Sam is trying to like encourage her, you know, in this episode, like, it's gonna be okay, you know, look at, you have your computer at least, you know, like it'll be fine.
Try some new software or something. At least that way you can look at the computer monitor.
Clarissa goes on to say, you know, Sam, Mom's not all wrong. Did you know on the average day, kids watch 3.5 hours of TV? And then he goes, 3.5? I'm not watching enough.
Did you know that on the average day, kids watch 3.5 hours of TV?
3.5? I'm not watching enough.
And it's so funny. So like I teach junior high kids, and so, you know, kind of going back to what we were talking about, like talking about it at school with your friends and stuff, like it's so weird they just think it's so bizarre. I'm like, yeah, there was a time where like you couldn't record it and you were just busting to get over that couch after the commercial break, so you were right back and ready to go when the show came. And they're like, what? You couldn't skip the commercial? You know, they're just like, can't comprehend. Like, anyway.
Now we think the commercials were the best part.
Yeah.
I know.
It's funny. The Verb commercial, the Nickelodeon action verb commercial, it's what you do.
Verb, it's what you do.
Sorry, I'm getting on a side tangent. I have one of my students really loves like logos. So he has autism, and his thing is like TV and movies and logos. And actually that was broadcasted in 1970, you know, like knows all the facts. And so we talk about Nickelodeon, and I've told him about the podcast, and he just loves it. So he appreciates he goes, oh, the nostalgia when I turn on like old, you know, older Nikes and Nickelodeon. Oh yeah, he drew that for Carl, the original 1991 Nickelodeon.
Oh my gosh, that's so
logo.
sweet.
So he's very accurate. Anyway, but like 3.5 hours, you know, seems like a lot. And now it's like, I mean, kids look at their phone and it's like 7 hours, 6 hours a day, like just, you know. So I thought that was pretty memorable.
I also, because right after the quote that you were just talking about, I also thought it was funny where Clarissa goes on to talking about, and within that time frame, they'll see this amount of acts of violence and this amount of sexual references. And then Sam goes, man, I'm watching the wrong channels.
33 acts of violence and 38 sexual references.
Whoa, I must be watching the wrong channels.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could get away with that on kids' TV these days.
I don't think you could.
I don't think you could. No. But then she's like, yeah, that would like bore a fifth grader. Or that wouldn't something like, go over a fifth grader's head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like just how that has changed.
That most stuff on TV wouldn't sell to 5-year-old.
I also liked the moment. It's a very small, under the radar quote, but I thought it was hilarious, so it stuck with me. It was when Marshall went to sit down to turn the game on, and Janet is over his shoulder. Marshall, we're doing no TV, remember? And then he just very quietly, yeah. No TV, kids, remember? And clicks it off and says, of all the games to miss out on. And
Did you hear that, kids? No TV. Now that's a rule. Of all the games to miss, I can't believe it.
And it's like, did he actually concede to that? Or what did Janet just say, no, this is what you're doing?
Oh, no, I'm sure
I'm
that
pretty
was
sure
Janet.
that's what happened.
It was Janet.
Damn it, Janet.
He just forgets, right? He picks up the phone. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the TV. And then the kids are like, I'm following Dad. This is our loophole. Dad's watching TV. And then Janet's like,
I do like how Clarissa tries to trick her mom into watching TV. I forget all the things she says, but it's like, they increasingly get more bizarre until she's like, I'm going to go eat a can of tomatoes and jar of mayonnaise until I throw up. Oh, that's great, dear.
Maybe I'll join a radical feminist folk singing group.
That's nice, Clarissa.
Maybe I'll join a fanatic religious cult where you have to shave your head, paint it red, and worship lima beans.
That's nice, dear.
Maybe I'll eat a jar or 2 of mayonnaise, 5 or 6 jars of pickled tomatoes, some baking soda, maybe a box of cake mix, and just puke until I pass out.
That sounds interesting.
Maybe I'll just go and watch some TV.
Freeze. Forget it, Clarissa.
I feel like that's like an ode to the moms that multitask on the daily.
Yeah, that's the mom radar.
Yeah. Carl, what do you have for memorable quotes?
Well, we get some classic Ferguson, what would you call them? Lines from Clarissa, names for Ferguson. Of course, we get Ferg breath, which is a classic.
Yeah.
Insults, there you go.
That's because they're still looking for the cure for toxic Ferg breath syndrome.
But we also get Fergopolis breath.
Sure, Fergopolis breath.
Which in the James
I love that.
Which I think is great. Fergopolis breath. And then you kind of mentioned this, but Clarissa's one-liners are so good and they fly off the tongue that you have to really almost like be listening for them to truly appreciate them. So I didn't even hear this one until my second or third viewing. And I've seen this episode a bunch. I've probably seen this episode 50 times. But she says, I'm busy, Mr. Green Jeans. Don't you knock?
Hey, I'm busy, Mr. Green Jeans. Don't you knock?
Like what middle schooler comes up with that? And then at the very end when they're tricking Ferguson, she says, help me, my pixels are going fuzzy.
Hey, don't just sit there and do something. My pixels are starting to go fuzzy.
Yeah, that's us on the daily when we do Zoom calls.
Yeah, those are the big ones I found. There's others, but I think, and then in that exchange between her and Ferguson when she's convinced him that, or is convincing him that she's going crazy, all of those, act now, supplies last. It's just she knocks him out one by one, which is really fun.
Should we call the loony bin yet? Call now. Only $2.99 for the first minute, 50 cents for each additional minute.
Really, sis? Tell me more.
Please stand by. This is a test. This is only a test.
There was to Christine's point earlier about you couldn't skip commercials. There was another quote in there that I thought, man, that would be awesome. That would have been awesome back then because her whole assignment is find ways to make something better. So she's watching TV on how to make TV better. And one of her suggestions was,
Like there should be a 2-minute warning sign before each commercial break so you can get ready to make a sandwich.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
That is good.
all right, well, I guess we are going to move on to lasting appeal. So how does this episode hold up by today's standards? So, Krystine.
I think Russian potatoes are still relevant. So there's that. Also, I'm just going to kind of slide these into this category, but just as a couple extra preferences that I think. First of all, I believe the alligator, I think his name is Elvis.
Yes.
He only appears in season 1. So in this episode, when Sam's coming up through the window, Clarissa says something along the like, hang on, like, let me move Elvis out of the way.
Yeah, you do get an Elvis sighting.
And you do get it. Yeah. He's a little alligator. He's pretty cute.
Also, I noticed the kitchen set was different. In season 1, there's no staircase in the back of the kitchen. And then season 2 onwards, there's a staircase.
Well, speaking of kitchen, that was also my other little like small tidbit before I get into like the real lasting impressions. But how cute so the interaction she has with her mom, and then when she goes into like the fourth wall and she sits on the table to talk to the audience, how cute are those watermelon glasses? That it's so strange, but like those kind of glasses make me think of my grandparents. So like that sparked a thing of nostalgia for me, and they're super cute. So if you go back, look at the watermelon glass in the background.
I
Super
did notice
cute.
them actually because I want some glasses like those.
Yes, so me too. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, just want to highlight the cute watermelon glass too. But no, I think that this episode obviously still has very lasting appeal in the fact that, even if it's not necessarily just like limited to TV, I mean, we have a screen, like kids have a screen in their face all day long, and you see the effects like it has on them, like, oh, you're gonna rot your brain away. But like, it really kind of does, like statistically, like people have like more white matter because of just the addiction of the screens and, now modern cartoons and stuff, even the lighting makes kids more wound up and more addicted to it. And so like, and I'm not saying that it's bad. Like I like TV, I like movies, but I think that the episode like showing, go take something away that you are addicted to and like spend time with your family, like actually try to get to know each other. You might enjoy playing a game. So even with my students, like we use technology, they have laptops and stuff that we use sometimes, but at the end of the day, when they get free time, like I don't let them on like you can have free time, but not on the computer. So like they'll play board games, they'll play with blocks or whatever, they'll build stuff, and then like it's cool to see them actually choose those things over a screen. So I have a theory in this episode that if they would have continued maybe a family game night, at least like once a week, that it would have caught on. I know but I think that this is still something that we're dealing with now, and I think like, yeah, it's
even more relevant now.
Yeah.
Really.
I was going to say, as a parent of 2 boys, we've had to do that. Because my youngest, especially, he will sit and binge YouTube all day if we let him. And I can easily tell a difference in his attitude whenever he has watched YouTube all day long. And we've gotten to the point where we've had to say, okay, no screens at all for a week. And it's not really because he's grounded. It's just because you need to do something else. Go play with toys, play with your older brother, and then whenever we're off work, we'll play with you and things like that. And we try to actively find time where we can do things as a family. But thankfully, they're at the age where hanging out with mom and dad is still cool. Well, we'll see how that changes when my oldest goes to junior high next year. But no, it's absolutely right, Kat and Krystine. It's even more relevant. The tech has changed, but the lesson has not.
Yeah, limiting screen time will never go out of style.
Carl, lasting appeal for total TV.
I'm glad you said that limiting screen time will never go to style, because I feel like that's a point that my episode excels in making. And like your episode's interesting in that it shows the effects of what is effectively addiction withdrawal. Because you have like Ferguson, just becomes addicted to his game. He trades one for another. Marshall gets depressed. Janet gets anxious, right? Starts smoking. But they never like make the connection to TV. It's just that they're not doing so. It's just that they're bored or something like that. I think total TV though makes that connection that too much, and they do it in a silly way, but they make that connection that too much TV can drive you insane. And whether that's like actual psychosis or that it just gives your younger brother an option to prank you and, make your life go nuts that way. Yeah, it's, and we may have talked about this already, but it's really interesting that the creators and the writers were sensitive to those issues, even back then, probably before they even realized that, dopamine addictions and things like that. But I think Total TV makes that case better, especially at the very end when Clarissa says like, all right, hey, now shut off the TV. Good, problem solved. So that's number one. Number two is, whereas I think your episode has a lot of great pop culture references, I think that's where it starts to feel dated today. Like Sam's clothing is very much 90s, early 90s neon colors.
That's back, Carl.
Not Sam's clothes are not back. Okay, if they were, I'd be wearing them right now. All right.
Oh, I work junior high, kids. I see a lot of that stuff now. Just saying.
But I think those references date the episode a little bit more. But Total TV almost feels like it could have been made for kids TV these days, if it wasn't for the big CRTV TV and things like that. But the ideas, the concepts are the same. The lessons are good. I think it makes really good use of all the characters. Like Ferguson's a butt in this in ways that he's not a butt in other episodes.
Yeah.
We see the dynamic between Marshall and Janet play out really cool. Like, yeah, I feel like they get a lot of screen time in this episode, more so than others. We see Hillary, who's like this character that comes out of nowhere but is still there and helps advance the story. So in terms of lasting appeal, I think it's something that you can come back to and immediately kind of immerse yourself in. You don't feel like you're watching something dated or even something from your childhood. Even I think it feels like something that is modern and relevant too.
Yeah, if you just replaced the TV with a cell phone, and if I spent 24 hours on watching anything on my phone, how could I improve that? And it's still relatively the same in context.
Although I don't know if that's a science project. I think teachers would be like, no, pick another topic.
That's
So
no.
I do have something to add to that. Okay, so I will add this here. I did have that science project.
Did you? A science class?
Oh, cool.
It was
wow.
although
You had a really cool science teacher then.
although
in Mr. Fudstein's class.
Yeah.
it was
Psychology, I would think, more so than like.
it was more. I don't remember what. I don't know if it was science. I don't know if it was something else, but it was this study on advertising. And this was an elementary school. This was 96 and 97. I want to say it was October-ish of 96. And our goal, our homework assignment was to go home and watch TV for 2 to 4 hours. And within that time frame, count how much was actual TV programming and how much was advertising. And because obviously it was only 24 minutes of TV, but you got 6 minutes of commercials. So I was really excited when I got to go home and tell Mom I get to watch uninterrupted television, not for 24 hours, but
Yeah.
for an extended period of time at home. And she had to make a note for all the kids. Yes, this is the homework assignment. So that way the parents would believe us. And because I remember watching Shelby Woo and Kablam and Alex Mack and all the afternoon lineup that day, and it was so cool. So there, again, like Carl was saying, in moderation, there was some of that there for a week. It was a week-long assignment, not just a day. But that was still pretty cool to be able to say my homework assignment is getting to watch TV for an extended period of time.
Now, did it change the enjoyment of TV knowing that it was for school? Like by the end of the week, were you like, "Oh, I can't believe I have to do this again"?
No, I was excited. My enthusiasm did not change for it. I was still pumped. I was like, my older brother. It was a rare opportunity for me to kick my older brother out of his room because I was watching it in his room. Well, before we hear Kat's deliberation of who wins and who does not, or is it a tie, we're going to check out some more advertising and see what is going on in the world of Splat Attack, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. So don't go away. Don't touch that dial. All those old phrases that they used to say, even though there's no dials on cell phones.
There's no dial.
But except for those right there. There's dials there. So don't touch those because nothing will happen. But we'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh gosh. Nope, that's backwards. SPL. Oh, that looks really bad. Why? Clarissa makes this look so easy. Well, she has hands. We'll be back with more Splat Attack Podcast. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Splat Attack. If you are enjoying this episode, please hit the like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button, along with that notification bell. If you are enjoying this episode and you're listening on a podcast app, please leave us a review. These very simple actions from you help make sure that they have total podcast all across all social networks. You all heard Carl earlier in this episode and how much fun we have over on Patreon. So what are you doing with your life? Go to patreon.com/splatattack, where we have slime streams twice a month, exclusive bonus minisodes every Friday, opportunities to submit questions to the celebrity guests, and more. Only for our gagoids on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/splatattack. Do you like the hoodie that Kat is wearing? Do you like the t-shirt that Carl is wearing? Do you like the coffee mug that Krystine was sipping from? You can find all of that and more over on Bonfire. Go to bonfire.com/store/splatattack store with hyphens in between, where we have a plethora of choices. Even just one design you can have in several different forms, several different colors, including color splash or tie-dye. All kinds of really cool stuff, including a no Ferguson's allowed, because ew. Go to bonfire.com/store/splatattack store with hyphens in between.
Tune in next time, Slimesters, when the Midnight Society lives through their own campfire tale and we revisit the tale of the Silver Sight. Are You Afraid of the Dark creator DJ McHale joins us for the retrorific action, only here on Splat Attack.
Welcome back to Splat Attack.
Ow. Welcome back, all of you Slimesters. Hope you enjoyed that commercial break. It's so weird that we can actually say, did you enjoy that commercial break? Because it's silly so often. We need to have Manny back on just to have him do random little cutaways in the commercial breaks.
Like when he gestures to things.
Or that one time he just grabbed the Buddha and it was just, you will like Splat Attack. Stupid stuff. I love it. All right, so Carl and Krystine have given their arguments over total TV and no TV. So, Kat.
Yes.
Judge Judy Kat.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
Who wins which category? Judge Trudy.
Judge Trudy. Oh. Well, all right. So for story, I'm going to give it to Total TV. As a kid, I thought it would be really cool to be assigned to watch TV. Well, not be assigned to watch, but have the option to watch TV for 24 hours and have that be homework. For the use of TV and pop culture, I'm going to give it to No TV, because there were so many that we're remembering after the fact. And I'm sure there are even more that we didn't catch. I'll have to watch it again. For use of Daydream and cutaway sequences, I'm going to give it to Total TV. I mean, there were more of them.
It was the Paul Revere. We know that.
Yeah. What?
It was the Paul Revere. We know that.
It was Paul Revere. For quotes, Krystine made some really good arguments. I'm going to give it to No TV for quotes. So right now, we're tied. Yeah, we're tied. And for lasting appeal, I'm going to give it to both. Mainly because of Carl's argument that one sort of segues into the other. So it's a bit of a cyclical thing, right? When you watch them like back to back. But I also enjoy both. I remembered both before I even rewatched Clarissa as an adult. And both definitely are still relevant. So I'm going to give it to both. So we have a tie.
Yay! Congratulations, both of you.
She's a worthy
fair.
opponent.
It was the watermelon cup that really.
It was the watermelon. No, wait, I give it to No TV because of the watermelon.
This one's for all the Russian potatoes out there.
Well, we do have our ratings for the episodes. And for those of you who have never heard how we do ratings, we rate them very much like a report card, A through F. We do have 3 tiers above an A for things that are exceptional. So S, double S, and triple S. Triple S is the highest that we can give anything. So we'll actually start with, since Krystine, this is your first time with us, what do you rate No TV?
I mean, and maybe I'm biased, but like I stated earlier, I feel like family time and being able to step away from the TV will never go out of style. So for that, I rate the episode an A.
All right. Carl, what do you give No TV?
I mean, No TV, I'd say it's a solid B. The show had not yet come into its own. Still season 1 episode. I feel like they were still playing with the characters as to their strengths and moving the story. But I still think it's a good episode. I don't think it's a bad episode at all. But I think a solid B plus. We'll give it a strong B plus.
Kat?
B plus. I'm gonna give it an A. I think it's a pretty strong episode for like the 3rd episode in of the series in general. But you're right, they didn't really hit their stride yet, but it's still a great episode.
And I agree. I also give it an A. It is a very fun episode, and it's tough to get into the exceptional category within the first few episodes of any show. Because you really got to dial into those tropes and those characters and then find episodes that will bring out the best and the worst in characters. But I love the message behind it. I do think it's pretty crazy the fact that there is an episode on TV that kids are watching about stop watching TV, spend it with your family. Now, watch more TV shows that we're going to throw at you. But as far as
Come
total...
back next week to watch again.
Well, Nickelodeon, they had the Worldwide Day of Play like years later where they literally put nothing on the channel except for like a little card that said go out and play.
Jar of mayo.
Or jar of mayo.
As far as total TV goes, Krystine, what do you rate that one?
I do appreciate, like Carl stated earlier, the breakaway scenes and the history, and I can appreciate that. I think what was difficult for me in that episode is just such the high tension between Ferguson and Clarissa and them like fighting so much and trying to get at each other because I wanted a sibling to always play with, so I was kind of jealous. But overall, I mean, it's still a very classic episode, and I think that one was the first one that premiered for SNICK, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? I think that alone deserves a little bit of a bump up rating wise because it's kind of a time capsule a little bit in itself. So I will give it a solid B for that reason.
Ooh.
Even though the tension, the sibling tension, I don't like it, but I'm still gonna give it a B for those reasons.
And Carl's like, how dare you?
Time capsule, classic B.
Carl, what do you give total TV?
First, I would just like to say I would never want to be one of your students because your grading scale is terrible.
No.
I think it's top tier. I don't think it's the best episode of Clarissa. I think there are better episodes, but excuse me. Again, second season, hitting their stride. You could tell the cast is having fun. I think it's a fun story. Good use of all the characters and the character tropes that we know and love about the Darling family. So I would give it an A. Not I'm not going to bump it all the way up to A+, but I would give it an A.
Okay. Kat?
This is a tough room. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna give it a double S. It's not. I don't think it's the best episode of Clarissa, but it's definitely memorable. It's definitely up there for me. And because again, premiered on SNICK, that alone, I think, bumps it up into S tier. I don't know. It's just something about it is like this is a gold star episode. And like it's seared into my brain that when Clarissa was like pushing her face against the TV, she's like, I'm stuck. And I was trying to find when Clarissa came on Paramount Plus, I was trying to find what's that episode where she's in the TV and they didn't have it. And I was so mad. So like that was one of my top episodes as a child too. So I am going to give it double S.
And I am going to give it a triple S. I absolutely love this episode. This is probably the episode that I remember the most before I revisited the series again as an adult, because I remembered very clearly her stuck in the TV, pretending to be stuck in the TV to mess with Ferguson. I thought that was the coolest prank ever, and I wanted to be able to do something like that to my older brother because he does have a TV in his room, and I wanted, and my dad does have a camera. I was like, "Can we please do this?" And my parents wouldn't let me do that, but I remembered that episode so vividly, and going back and watching it again. This is like the 6th or 7th time I've watched this episode since I revisited the series. It's such a good episode. It is obviously it's among my favorites. It is top tier. There are other episodes that are probably objectively better, but they would if they're better, they're going to be in the triple S category for me too because they're great episodes. I don't think there will be one that will top it for me personally, but will tie with it because there's a handful of episodes of here's a Clarissa episode, or Clarissa, what episodes are you watching? I'm watching one of these 5 because and this is one of them. It's a great episode. But we do have one more segment for the closing of our episode. And as always, we've got to go to our Splat Attack podcast mascot, Splat Stanley, to see what segment we've got going on. So, Splat Stanley, what is our segment for the episode?
Alrighty, Pat Sajak, give this wheel a spin. Whoa, hey mom, look, I'm on TV. Oh, I didn't know it was part of the game.
Tuned in is the segment that we're doing.
Tuned in. You all heard the stick. We are going to be doing Tuned In, which, if you've never seen Tuned In before, it's our song-based segment. If you could pick any song, actual existing song, to be tied to this episode in some way, what would it be? And we're looking at both No TV and Total TV. Kat, I know you in the notes you said you've got some.
I've got like
that you
5 of them, so somebody else go first.
So well, actually, we'll start with Carl. So if you had to pick a song for No TV, what do you have in mind?
This was a hard one. I thought I spent probably too much time trying to think of this. And I was thinking like, okay, TV themes or Lost or Getting Grounded or In Trouble or that kind of thing. Ultimately, I settled because I feel like the main theme of the episode is togetherness. Like that's what they keep driving together. I came up with Come Together by the Beatles.
Krystine, what do you have for No TV?
So I had 2 because I couldn't decide. I had You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones, or Just What I Needed by the Cars. So it's going either way.
All right, so the one I had for No TV, because the entire episode, I kind of went the opposite direction of togetherness, because the whole episode they were all struggling with how not having TV was driving them nuts. So I went with Daft Punk's Television Rules the Nation.
Okay. Yeah.
Kat, what did you have?
I sort of went the opposite direction. 57 Channels and Nothing On by Bruce Springsteen.
I almost picked that one. I was very close to getting that one.
Kind of, because it's like 57 channels, but then like the TV's broken, so there's nothing on, but also the TV blows up, but just like he shoots I don't know. Anyway.
There is a song that I wanted to use, but I couldn't because it's more just one lyric. But there is an entire album from AC/DC that's called Blow Up Your Video. And I wanted to use that, but Blow Up Your Video is not even a song. It's just one lyric in another song. And I was like, man, that doesn't quite fit for the context of what we're doing, because I was thinking that all the TVs exploded.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, that could work for this episode, but no.
What's the one with is it the B-52s? Is it Channel Z, right?
I don't know.
Yep, that's a song. I'm not sure if it's the one that I'm thinking of, but it's a song.
So we also have Total TV. So, Carl, what song did you have for Total TV?
I'm pretty proud of this one. I selected I Always Feel Like Somebody's Watching Me by Rockmore.
Ferguson's watching me.
Stop watching TV.
Krystine, what did you have?
I kind of played on the sibling tension, so I went with I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty.
I also went with the concept of Clarissa inside the TV and just thought the alliteration was fun, so I went with Talking Heads Television Man.
That's a good one.
Nice.
And Kat, wrap it up for us. What you got?
Yeah, I went with Trapped in a Box by No Doubt.
Oh, that's good.
That's really
Trapped in a box.
So what we've done previously, and the last couple times I just haven't done it because life has been busy, but we used to post these on our socials and would ask, hey, everybody vote for your favorite. But honestly, that's a limited time frame to do. So we're actually going to not do the Instagram thing and just put it down below in the comments. Of these songs, which one would you pick to be the best choice for each of these episodes? Comment down below. Let us know. If you have a different suggestion, throw it in there. Be creative with us. We want to hear from you guys. But we do have, as always, in trying to interact with all of you Slimesters out there, our closing question for the episode. Our closing question is, if you decided to binge watch TV for 24 hours straight, which shows would be in your queue? You can write to us via email at splatattack2021@gmail.com. DM us on all of our socials. Just look for Splat Attack Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, because it's helpful and we want to hear, help the algorithm find us, find you, because interaction, communication, togetherness, make it so. But again, as always, Carl, Krystine, thank you so much for joining us. Carl, it's always a blast having you. Krystine, it was so great having you here with us for the first time.
This is so much fun.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was a lot of fun.
Such a gift to do this with you guys. What a blast.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks for having us.
Check out some of our previous episodes with them if you guys haven't already. Check out Collector's Corner. Check out the other episode, the Valentine's episode that we had with Carl. That was that was a fun episode. Until our next episode, Kat, will you help me close up the studio, please? We need to craft some riddles for our next recording.
Aye, co-captain, but hang on. I think I'm getting some sort of broadcast here. Might be the episodes that we need. Or not.
I'll go get the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Splat you later, Slimesters. This episode was recorded at Splat Attack Studios, in virtual home studios, though none in Florida.